It's been 7 years and 15 months since Ireland last scored a goal. Stephen Kenny's reign has gotten off to, I suppose, a damp start if we're going by scorelines anyway. My name is Mark Farley. As always, I'm joined by Donny Mahoney, Mick McCarthy, and Gary Connaughton to look back at the Finland defeat. Lads, I'm deflated. We were deflated last Thursday. I'm even more deflated now.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's not great.
Like it's one of those things as well that you can look at it two ways. That you can be the kind of eternal optimist who's saying, "Look, we're still playing well, and we've got young lads coming into the team, and we've 13 players out injured as far as, or well, out of the team one way or another, as far as we could tell." And but at the same time, not scoring again and losing to Finland for a second time in a couple of months, it is hard to see the positive. Though I promise by the end of this podcast, we will be raring to go for our next international window.
Hopefully, like that's the thing. It's even now I'm like wondering when I was saying, I was like, it's been a poor start when score lines are concerned. It has been good in terms of the fact that we've gotten plenty of possession. We've created chances. We're just not taking them. And I keep hearing that the chances will, when these chances eventually will turn, we will score goals. But Gary, why? What is the reason behind that? Behind that cliche nearly that this is it's bound to just start putting them away.
I don't know how we can talk about this without falling into cliche, but we have been creating the chances, and I don't know, like there's obviously a slice of luck involved there. Like when the Finland goalkeeper pulls out a save like that in the 93rd minute to stop a header, from blank point range going in, like it's, what can you do? You just have to hold your hands up and say it's not going to be your night. But like, I don't know, I think we're just lacking a bit in forward areas, but like, again, that is the hardest thing for a coach to change, and it's going to take time, and like it's not going to happen overnight. But that's not what anyone wants to hear, but it's just the facts. Like,
we should quantify it though, because everyone will always come on and say, "Oh, we had the chances," and then it's like, what did we actually have? Like, I mean, Shane Duffy headed the ball, free header from 6 yards over the bar. Aaron Connolly was in twice on goal. One time where I think he thought he was offside. Second time, probably not as easy a shot, but he hit both straight at the goalkeeper. You had Matt Doherty with a really good chance out on the right side of the box, which he hit wide. You had that Ronan Curtis chance. I think I'm forgetting one or two, and this is all just in the second half. Like,
Matt Doherty had the header.
Matt Doherty had a header as well, which was a tough chance, but again, it was a chance to score. And you add all those things together, and it's like that is a lot in probably about 25 minutes of football, really. That's the latter half of the second half, where Ireland got it all. Oh, it's Enda Stevens hitting the crossbar, as well, where he found himself in the box, and a lovely little idea, but probably actually should have scored, considering he did what he did. So I'm sorry, but like, we've all watched enough football to know that some days those go in and some days they don't. We definitely aren't going to be prolific. We don't have a Robbie Keane, for want of a, as he said, we'll resort to cliche, him being a cliche these days. But like, I don't think Aaron Connolly is going to be that guy. I don't think Dave McGoldrick certainly isn't. And, I don't think any of the other forward players are going to be prolific. But we make enough chances to score goals just in a normal course of a match. One or two of those goes in. We get one or two goals. A goal goes in early for Ireland, completely different match. We just haven't had. It's weird that we played 5 games of football and none of that has happened yet in any of them. Despite us playing well. Gary, I'll put this to you: were Ireland the better team in all 5 matches we've played under Stephen Kenny? And let's say these 3 actually, because the first 2 were a mess really with the pre-season.
I think we were the better team, I would say, in these 3. I think the only one we probably weren't the better team in was when we played Finland at home in the first game. I think against Bulgaria, we were probably the better team as well. But I'd say probably, maybe I'm probably a bit biased, but like, they created more chances than the other 3 teams in all 3 games. So
probably even enough, I think, against Slovakia. But look, get involved in the comments, everybody, with your thoughts on the game so far. Did you watch the Finland game this evening? What did you make of it? Did we deserve at least a draw? Probably deserved to win, but of course, look, as Mick McCarthy would say, you got to get results. Donny, you've been keeping a keen eye on social media throughout the game as well. What do you see? What's kind of the verdict that's out there?
I mean, there seem to be 2 kind of competing themes. There's a lot of people in the media, and I guess maybe Ireland people, who seem to be saying, give Kenny time, the goals will come, have patience. And then I think there's a sort of hardened, cynical Ireland fan reaction, which is sort of like, we're screwed, this isn't working, this isn't going anywhere. So you know, in that sense, these are the two kind of extremes of Irish fandom. We do have a poll up on Ball.ie at the moment that says, you know, asking people for their take on where we're at after 5 matches, and 67% of people think that that Stephen McKennie's making progress, compared to about 33% who say we're going nowhere. So I think people are generally optimistic. I do just wonder, though, like at what point do these sort of results become sort of more than just a trend, and become almost like part of the culture of Kenny's management time? I wonder, is there almost like an element of bad luck or bad fate to this, if you think of what COVID took away from Ireland over the last couple of matches? And it's like 5 games now. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to be kind of feel excited about, I guess. But like, you know, even the goal, like there's so much focus on what's happening in front of the goal for Ireland, but in attack. But that defense, like that, the goal kick by Randolph, like that wasn't a kind of thing we would have been attempting 6 months ago. And I just wonder, is this too ambitious of a project?
Kerry, I understand Kerry Horan is in comments to Facebook saying, with what's at his disposal, he's doing a good job, in my opinion. Give him time. We need a proven goal scorer, and when the goals start to come in, we'll do all right under his stewardship. Give the man time. I'm sure people thought that we were going to change suddenly overnight, but obviously we're not.
Yeah, someone was telling me that Michael O'Neill didn't win any of his first 10 matches as Northern Ireland manager, which is I think everybody will say he's probably Northern Ireland's best manager of all time. Maybe you're definitely up there in the top 2. And, he had time and he made it work, right? And he's someone with a League of Ireland background as well. So maybe it just takes a little bit of time to install a new thing. But I think, Donnie, to your point, right, and I'm not saying it's your point really, but it is other people sometimes with the kind of we're crap, so therefore we should always be crap, and we should do things in this kind of straightforward way because it's our players don't have brains and they're not able to play any other way. But it's a false choice, because this idea that if we were playing the other way we would be doing better, we've no way of knowing that. And Darren Randolph might not have given away that goal, but if we were being peppered with crosses and pressure for 85 of the 90 minutes we were playing against Finland until they eventually scored, because we can't keep any possession and we've no interest in playing with the ball, we always are without the ball, that Ireland conceded goals that way the whole time as well. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's a player issue both at the back and at up front. But we may as well, we're just trying to play a different way. I don't think it's necessarily a choice between, you don't give away that goal if you're playing Mick McCarthy's way.
Yeah,
Kieran, sorry, go ahead, Danny.
No, you go on, Mark. You go on.
So Kieran Basquille is in the comments saying left Collins out of the squad despite being a regular goal scorer across the last 4 seasons with Luton Town. He'd have definitely put a few chances away that we had. Everyone complaining about not having a goal scorer. Stephen Comer says until midfield is sorted, we won't be going to any tournament. That has been a massive problem for years and no one can sort it out. Mike Quinn says, I think that they've been unfortunate, to be honest. Results haven't mirrored the performances. They desperately need a clinical finisher, though.
Agree completely.
Yeah, you see, the clinical finisher thing, how many countries in world football outside the top 10 have what you describe as a top class goal scorer? Very few of them. Timu Pukki, who was a decent Premier League striker, can be clinical at international level. He scored a load of goals for Finland, basically got them to the Euros by himself. Ireland have had one in their history. How many islands of our countries of our size have had goal scorers like that? So it's all about developing a system that puts the players that we do have in the best possible chances to score, which I think is something we have done. I think it's something that's going to get better. It's just going to take time. I know what you're saying about it's when is it going to become a problem, and it's always been a problem. It's been a problem for the last 10 years. It's just now we're creating more chances to miss, whereas before we weren't creating any. I don't know. I think it's obviously we want to win games and we want to score goals and we want to see instant results, but it's just not going to happen that way. We need to have time. And like you're saying about Michael O'Neill, Mick McCarthy didn't win his first 8 games in charge when he was in his first stint as Ireland manager either. So, yeah, I just don't understand people giving out already. I think it's way too early to be doing that, There
was a sense when Randolph did that, that the mistake came from something like that the most annoying thing for me was that immediately it gives credence to that 30-something%, Donnie, that you were saying that I don't want to be unfair, but there's a part of me that thinks they want this to happen, and it's let's pick apart Stephen Kenny as well, because I don't want to be just like saying everything he does is perfect and let's give him time forever and we never win a match. We're just talking about a general thing of this is moving in the right direction. We're not saying it's perfect. It's far from perfect.
One thing they'll make says, I haven't seen it, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see anybody giving out that Darren Randolph played the ball out from the back and we conceded a goal. Anyone that's been critical are criticising the results and us not getting the results, rather than just, here we shouldn't be playing the ball out of the back just because we conceded a goal.
Okay,
it's one of those things that I think people who are on the other side of the fence, and you might admit to being this, are straight away it's one of the things of, no, hold on, don't you, don't be giving out about that, whereas nobody actually is, you know.
Well, I don't agree that people aren't giving out about that. Like, well, maybe I didn't see too much of it this because I've been purposely not on social media because we come on to do this and I stayed away from my phone. But during the Wales match, it was exactly like that. It was, the problem was we were playing tippy tappy and and that, like, we don't have the players to play this way. This was 100% the reaction to a lot of these people. And it seems to be that there's just some people have the attitude that Ireland shouldn't try to be like other countries. We should be, or as good as, I don't mean obviously like in terms of aping other countries, we should obviously be our own style, but we don't have the confidence or the ability or the self-esteem among, to go and play our own way. We have to do things in the most rudimentary way possible and the caveman football, because that's the only way we can get results, because we're not good enough. And I think there's an attitude there that's borderline self-hating Irish fan. And look, to be honest, I can understand why they've had it, because they've had to watch that dross for the last 15, 20, 30 years even. And, you can see where it comes from. But we're trying something new. Let's try something new, because it hasn't worked. What the hell have we done in the last 20 years? We made 2 tournaments since World Cup 2002, and one of them we were the worst team. We shouldn't. It was embarrassment, and then the other one we did okay. We're not qualifying. We're not doing anything as it is. So let's try something new.
Yeah, but I think just the question is, like, is it working or is it not? And when can we start to, when do we have enough evidence to start to say, well, this is working, there's progress, but actually maybe we don't have the personnel without like this sort of goal scoring striker to actually do this, to play this way.
I'm suggesting we've done better than we would have done, and that results have been a bit random and weird, and there's no saying they wouldn't have happened the other way.
Would we be in any better of a position if we played crap in the 4 games but somehow managed to squeak a 1-0 win in Bulgaria and, I don't know, drew 0-0 with Finland at home instead of losing 1-0? Would we be in any better of a position realistically? Like, as long as
I think it's unfair to compare these performances against fictional performances from the past. We know, like, I think everybody's in agreement this is like a step forward, and everybody likes what the kind of football that we're watching. But like, I think to me there's a growing question of, like, is it working? Like, I understand there's luck and there's randomness involved, but like,
there's 13 players out.
All that kind of stuff.
We
but
brought
like,
on an 18-year-old today.
But there's also 5 games of evidence, and like, I don't know. I just, like, to me, you'd like to see, would like to see a goal.
Well, I think we're all in agreement there.
Yeah, definitely. There's also, I suppose, the other discussion is, like, and it seems to be very black and white, and this has turned into, like, as all things these days, very my camp versus your camp. These are the two ways of doing things. The two tactics in football aren't just either sit back and lump it long and hope that we get a knock on and play tiki-taka football and have 85% possession and hope that the ball eventually goes in because we create 100 chances. Like, I think David Myler was decent in his analysis of it, talking about when Ireland played quickly along the ground, like, as in what Randolph was doing, as in get a quick kick, get the ball moving, a few passes, get it in behind quickly, run at the defence, get Finland running backwards towards their own goal, that we were creating chances that way. When we actually slowed it up and went through the 50 passes and going nowhere, we weren't actually managing to create any chances. So that is another thing, that maybe it's not necessarily that, let's just throw this baby out with the bathwater, but that we need to tweak it a little bit.
But the reason they're playing those passes is to try and draw the opposition defence out of play so that they can play the balls in behind.
And also, he was talking about just trying a bit more, or he was talking about playing with urgency. That is not just, like that.
That's fair enough, but you can't play like that all the time. There will be spells in games where you have to keep the ball.
I would argue there was a nice balance there, I have to say. I think
Yeah.
they did that at times. They got like, if you look at it at the Wales game, like the best chance they had in the first half was because they were patient, and then opened them up. You know, maybe that was the Slovakia game, actually, sorry, that I'm thinking. But like, you know, that's just, that happens, but they also played balls. And then there was a load of crosses and stuff like that. Like all the chances we mentioned earlier were all like, you know, bodies in the box. You know what I mean? It's not as if this idea that it is one or the other and that Kenny plays beautiful football and we don't do it. Ireland get the ball in the box, loads. They had 25 crosses against Slovakia or something, or 22, maybe 23.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're just doing it in a different way.
There is a mountain of comments coming in as well on Facebook. There's Martin Donald says lost to some pretty average teams. Losing to Finland twice was pretty poor. That Slovakia team was an average team at best and still couldn't beat them. I've nothing against Stephen Kenny and delighted he got his chance, but it clearly isn't working so far. We have decent players at present and should be doing better. Colin O'Donnell says, say what you want, but no Irish soccer team should ever lose to Finland, who are rubbish. Very poor. There's obviously lots of comments coming in there saying the same thing about in terms of giving Kenny more time and that we've been playing well, just not getting the rub of the green. I think Owen McCann's comment, I think, is the best so far. He says, best way forward is to form a committee of social media commentators to manage Ireland and secure qualification for the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Come here. People are saying it's an excuse every time you mention the fact. Like, and everybody's missing people, fair enough, right? But our best centre-half is missing by a mile, right? A captain and right back who I genuinely think, like, maybe he wouldn't be playing, maybe he would be. I think he would have been for these games, right? You've got, who else are we missing? We're missing our main striker.
Robinson.
Like, our main striker, our, you know, one of our two, we probably have three wingers that are playing, that are in and out of the team. Two of them are gone. You
Jack
know,
Byrne.
midfielders, no. Jack Byrne wasn't.
I feel like we're going round in circles here, just talking about the same thing. Who's to blame?
Like,
what are we doing?
I'm just saying,
Gary,
the fact that we're saying Ireland should be beating Finland, it's only Ireland's second team, really. Like, you know.
Yeah, but then I suppose we're talking about 5 games as well as a whole. Like Slovakia were missing some of their best players as well, but because of COVID as well. Gary, in terms of tonight, you did the player ratings. They're up on site now. Anybody can check them out if they want to read them all. But who were your standout performers? Give us your top 3 performances of the night. Something that, you know, that we can finish on a positive.
Okay, I'll go from third to first. I thought the third best player was, well, I'll give the tied third. Jason Malumbi and Darragh O'Shea. I thought both played really well. I thought O'Shea was really impressive, the way he was willing to come out of the defence, both on the ball and off the ball, to press the ball carrier. He was really unlucky with their goal as well, that he kind of got blocked with, and it just kind of rebounded up to the man, to Jensen, and he got in. But I thought he was really good on his debut. Malumbi was probably not quite as good as he was against Wales, but it was all the same energy, that stuff. And I think that's the main problem with the Ireland team at the minute, is we're lacking energy in midfield. If we had 3 Jason Malumbis, I think we'd be such a better team. I know it's easy to say that we had 3 of our best players, but I just think Howerton doesn't have the legs to play. He's great on the ball sometimes, but he just doesn't have the legs to do what Stephen Kenny wants him to do in terms of pressing the opposition when we're out of the ball. And that plays into what you're talking about as well, Mark, where you're breaking at pace and stuff. So, and then Hendrick, I don't think he does that either. So I was really impressed with him. Anyway, I'm getting a bit off topic, but yeah, they're my third best. I don't know what you think, if I was right.
But we have to wait and see who's 2 and 1 as well, I suppose. To make sure.
Okay, well, yeah, sorry. Okay,
Who was Aaron Connolly?
Yeah, I thought Matt Doherty was probably our second best player. I thought he was very quiet for the first half an hour, but grew into the game a bit towards the end of the first half. And then in the second half, you know, he had the header, he had a shot from the edge of the box, he had a few great crosses in. So he was really threatening and looks like he was trying to make things happen. And then I thought Aaron Connolly was the best player on the pitch. He's like, he from the very first minute, he just wanted to make things happen for Ireland. It's been so long since we've had a player like that who's willing to try difficult things, take the responsibility himself, and he wants the responsibility of carrying the team. And he looks like he thrives off it. And I'm hoping that once he gets one goal, that it's just the monkey's going to be lifted off his back. I know he's only played 4.5 games for Ireland, so it's not as if he's on a mad run or anything. But I think once he gets that first goal, he'll really kick on. So I thought he was our best player by far tonight, to be honest.
Verdict, lads, do you agree, disagree?
I'd agree with that. I think Connolly was great. I'd actually, the Howerton point is the most interesting to me. I question why he played 300 minutes over the last, over the last week. It is an interesting. He played every minute, like, I think, and I kind of agree with Gary. I have to say, I don't know if he fits into this team, but yeah, for me, Connolly like this, you realized in minute 1 that we haven't seen him over the course of the last week. It was like Jesus, yeah, God, where was this guy?
He definitely brings you something completely different. The one thing with him sometimes is that he is a bit. He's looking to shoot first time every time. Like the first instinct of him is a shot, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. In that sometimes, like say when he give that pass to Maguire that Maguire miscontrolled. I think the thing was that he was shipping up for a shot and changed mind in the last second, so he over hit the pass slightly. It was coming at a lot of pace to Maguire. But then we're just talking. We spent the last 15 minutes on needing to take more chances and needing a goal scorer. So it's kind of great to see that someone's the minute someone gets the ball in the first look, and even when Doherty took his shot and missed that chance, you could see Connolly was kind of going mad because he was after breaking it in front of goal. He wanted the ball pulled across the box, and maybe that's it. It's just we need a few to him and the likes of Troy Parrott or in Adam Mead, say when they get more experience now in a year or two, maybe it will actually be a bit of a brighter future in terms of a strike partnership up there, lads that can get involved in the box, and just finish, finishers rather than like David Goldrick is brilliant at holding the ball up, getting others involved, but he needs someone else around him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important that these guys are playing games together as well. You know what I mean? They've played a lot of them have played somewhere close to 5 games together. I'm not sure anyone's made every game, but that they've been around camp like that. That's a second longish camp now. We've got another one a month, depending on the world might change that situation. But and then we're into the World Cup qualifiers where you really think by that stage they'll have found their feet. And hopefully anyway, there's a sense that, like Enda Stevens was talking a bit about that yesterday, that these guys they know each other a little bit more. They're playing. There's a lot of new people in this squad. This isn't, regardless of playing a new style of football, it's also a new squad. You know what I mean? You're talking about half people from mixed time, and then everybody else. Jason Malumbi, Jason Malumbi looks like he's going to anchor the Ireland midfield for the next 10 years, like straight away after the last 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is that we've seen him there, but he hasn't been playing with all these guys except for the under 21. So this will take time as well.
What do you think about Sorry, I was going to say there's 7 players under the 21 or younger in the matchday squad today, and that's not even counting a couple of lads who were like 23, 24. So anyway, sorry.
He's about to throw in a hand right here.
Before we go, like Hedrick, the other 90 minutes there? What do people?
75.
Okay, did he seems to have divided opinion again from looking at some of the Facebook comments.
Yeah, many times we had this conversation with Hef Hendrick, and he infuriates us because we know that even when he plays well, that there's so much there, so much more there. And I think it was that again tonight. There was at times where he looked really good, and he was getting in great positions. He had that chance in the first half that was blocked down. And then there was just other times where he'd pick up the ball and he'd take 2 or 3 more touches than he had to take, or he'd play a wayward pass to a man that was already after moving on to another 10 yards. So I think it's been the same performance we've seen. Basically, you can copy and paste his performances for the last 3 years. I think. Yeah, really.
You can copy and paste what I said about him on Sunday and any other time I've ever talked about him. Same thing. You just want always more from him, but it doesn't mean he's not doing anything well. It doesn't mean he's a nothing player that you think he's rubbish. It's because you want him to be Ireland's best player. And he so rarely is, and that might be an unrealistic expectation, but in a way it's a compliment to him, and it's not, again, just waiting back for like the 2 performances he had in Euro 2016, 5 years ago. It's what we see him in flashes all the time throughout games, but he just goes missing, and then other times gets sloppy, so both of those things together over the course of 90 minutes probably happens way too many times for everybody involved. Yeah. But again, look, I mean, it's not as if Ireland have better players waiting to come in than Jeff Hendrick. It's just you want so much more from him.
Before we do go, I just want to say, in terms of no wins under Kenny, Ireland haven't won a game of note in 3 years now. The last game of note that we won was the one in Wales. We beat Gibraltar home and away by scoring 3 goals. And no matter how much Mick McCarthy wants to talk about that 1-0 win in Gibraltar, it wasn't a feat of any sort.
It was very windy that day. It was very windy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we were just saying before you came on the call as well, Gary, that it's over a year since someone who isn't a defender scored a goal for Ireland. Because the last 2 was like Shane Duffy and then Matt Doherty again. Sorry, that's a competitive match. We did score 3 against New Zealand. But then the one before that was Matt Doherty against, was it Switzerland? Make mention it on commentary.
Denmark.
And then before that, Denmark, sorry, the last then was the Denmark equaliser, was it? The match before that with Dave McGoldrick got. He was
that was against Switzerland.
Against Switzerland, yeah.
Switzerland to get them mixed
Duffy scored against Denmark away, yeah.
Yeah. But, that McGoldrick goal against Switzerland was the last goal that wasn't from a defender, and the only other goal since then have been two goals in total. It's not like we scored 15 or anything.
Gary, you mentioned the Wales game, and it's like, I do think that the early days of the Keane O'Neill era are forgotten about because of how badly it ended, but like there were some big results, like actual wins away from Dublin, like away to Austria and away to in Cardiff, that were like, I think there can be, I think Ireland can play well into like their own strengths, and I think that's kind of just what I'm wondering, like are we ignoring our strengths at set pieces? And
I think Ireland had about 25% possession in that game away.
Both of them
one shot
were on the break, James McLean goals, and like they're amazing results, and we were delighted, but we were absolutely brutal in both games, and I think we got really lucky, and I think we got unlucky today, and that has to have, over the course of 3 years or 15 games, you stop talking about luck. But I really do think after 4 or 5, and I know we're playing lesser opposition than what we're talking about there, and they were amazing results, but I thought we were so lucky to win both of those games. So lucky. Yeah. I remember them well.
I disagree that we were brutal in them, though.
We defended really well, but
those are two
offered nothing going forward, I'd say.
International sides.
Austria were on their way down, and we didn't realise it at the time. Look at them now.
Okay.
That's the most David Dunphy comments that Mick has ever come out with.
Austria nearly below us.
Not the team. Not the team.
I just don't think football can't be viewed in binary terms like that. If the same people that are giving it loads about Stephen Kenny now, if we got 1 goal against Slovakia and got 1 goal in one other game and we took 2 of the chance that we missed and everything went the exact same way, they'd be singing his praises. So you can't judge the team just because the results haven't gone the way and completely disregard everything else that's happened during the game.
On that note, then, I don't know. I'm not even getting into that discussion.
Mick wasn't too bad. Let's be honest.
Poor Mick just threw out a cliche about it doesn't matter how well you play, you have to win matches, and everybody's jumping down his throat as in no one had ever made a statement like that before in the history of football, and it's literally the one thing everybody says about a manager. So there you go. And it was, it's like the triggered population we have now on social media and everything straight away just jumping down his throat. So I'm not even getting into that. We're going to go
Stop defending everybody, Mark. We're here to shake our fists.
I'm going to leave it a positive note. I think that what we've decided here is that it's still too early to decide what's going on with Irish football. Maybe we'll never saw Irish football. It's been an issue we've had now for over 100 years. Who knows? This World Cup that we're going to win. I don't know when it's going to be, but it might not be the next one. But thank you everybody for getting involved in the comments. If you're listening or if you've just tuned in, you can listen back to all of this. It'll be put up on our podcast feed soon enough. You can find us by searching Balls.ie podcast on all good podcast apps. And until we chat to you again, mind yourself.